day. You're watching African Free Press Television. My name is Sam Adedoyin Kubi, bringing you the news today. First, the headlines. ECOWAS court orders Dasuki's release. CCT indicts Urubebe over asset declaration and seizes property. Dangote Cement resorts to use of coal to power factory due to gas shortage. Buhari sends medium-term expenditure framework to National Assembly. Now the news in detail. It was a major victory for detained former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki yesterday when the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS court in Abuja ordered the federal government of Nigeria to release him from detention. The court further ordered the Nigerian government to pay the retired spy who has been in detention since December 29, 2015 without trial the sum of 15 million naira as compensation for unlawful detention and deprivation of his properties. In its judgment yesterday, the regional court held that the detention of Dasuki violated both the national and international laws on the right of persons and its citizens to freedom of liberty. Justice Friday Nwoke, who delivered the judgment of the regional court, dismissed the allegation of the unlawful possession of firearms and economic crimes used by the federal government as reasons for his detention. Justice Nwoke held that the Nigerian government missed the point because the case of Dasuki was waived on the enforcement of his breached and contravened fundamental rights. He said it was an established fact that the applicant was put on trial on 3 different Nigerian high courts and was granted bail by the courts. The court said the action of the Nigerian government in subjecting the ex-NSA to indefinite detention without trial is condemnable because the criminality has not been established against him. The regional court capited the federal government on its claim that it detained Dasuki without trial because he, that is Dasuki, was planning to stage a coup and wage war against millions of Nigerians. Meanwhile, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, has dragged the federal government and Department of State Services to Economic Community of West African States Court, that is the ECOWAS court, to seek for justice over illegal detention. 46-year-old Kanu was arrested by DSS in October 2015 on his way back from the United Kingdom, and since then he has been in detention and trial over alleged treasonable felony. IPOB instituted the case, which will come up on October 5, 2016, because the Nigerian judiciary could not deliver judgment on the matter concerning illegal detention of its leader, Kanu. A statement from IPOB Media and Publicity Secretary Mr. Imam Powerful alleged that the federal government had also started making moves to rubbish the courts managed by ECOWAS, thinking it was a Nigerian court that it could manipulate. Also in the statement, Powerful said that Kanu has been detained in Kuje Prison, Abuja, even after 2 courts had granted him bail, which he says will inevitably affect the Buhari administration negatively since they have refused to release Kanu and other IPOB members detained illegally after the court had granted them bail. The Code of Conduct Tribunal (CCT) has indicted former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs Elder Godsday Urubebe on false asset declaration. CCT Chairman Daladi Umar delivered the judgment convicting Urubebe of the offense. He, however, gave Urubebe a light sentence. The property known as Plot 2057 was seized. According to the CCT chairman, the prosecution proved its case beyond reasonable doubt and all evidence tendered were admitted. He held that Urubebe committed an offense for not declaring a piece of property in Abuja which Urubebe claimed he had sold. The federal government had filed a 1-count charge of false declaration of assets against Urubebe and insisted he committed the offense while he was a public officer. Speaking with newsmen after the proceedings, Larry Izimoje, Urubebe's lawyer, described the judgment as a travesty of justice and they will definitely proceed to the Court of Appeal. In order to sustain its production in the face of persistent drop in gas supply, Dangote Cement plant has decided to use locally mined coal to power the factory. This, the company said, would help to stop disruption in production gas supply that threatened its operations and increase in production. According to the president, Dangote Group of Companies, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, all cement plants have been converted to coal. He added that the facilities would use 12,000 metric tons of coal each day, adding that the move was unusual in an era when power generation is shifting away from coal. Coal, which was used to generate power in the US, fell to its lowest monthly level since 1978 as natural gas has surpassed it in recent months. Currently, Nigeria is plagued by gas shortages, with militants in the Niger Delta regularly disrupting Nigeria's oil and gas production. Dangote said Nigeria has become a cement exporter, generating $1.25 billion of sales as against annual imports of $2.5 billion, which the country would have spent before the sector was liberalized in 2002. President Muhammadu Buhari has forwarded the medium-term expenditure framework to the National Assembly. The MTEF shows a proposal to spend 6.8 trillion naira on the 2017 budget, with the debt servicing of 1.6 trillion naira. Based on the MTEF, the oil benchmark price is put at $42.5 per barrel, with 22 million barrels oil production per day and an exchange rate of 290 naira to a dollar. The document also stated that 65 billion naira will be spent on the amnesty program, while 350 billion naira will be spent on the Special Intervention Program in 2017. Senate President Bukola Saraki acknowledged the receipt of the document in plenary. The 2017 MTEF is coming 2 months earlier than that of the 2015, which was forwarded to the National Assembly in December 8 last year. In that framework, President Muhammadu Buhari earmarked 500 billion naira for school feeding program initiatives, conditional cash transfer to most vulnerable Nigerians, and post-NYSC grants. Out of the budget proposal of 6.04 trillion naira, the federal government's revenue is projected at 3.82 trillion naira and would borrow 2.2 trillion naira to finance the 2017 budget. The new medium-term expenditure framework is over 700 billion naira higher than the previous year. The government has said it is doing its best to cut costs of governance and plug leakages that had also promised to forward this year's budget early to the National Assembly to ensure early passage. That brings us to the end of the news today. My name is Sam Adedoyin. Make sure you check our website at www.africanfreepress.com for more content. Thank you for watching.